at the practice operations on complex numbers in DeMoivres theorem, first of all, guys, I've seen a lot of kids already miss number 2. It's the subtraction problem. And so it should be kind of easy, but it's just asking you for w minus z. So it wants w, which is 2 minus 7i, but where kids get confused is I want the opposite of all of z. So most of you guys are coming over and writing plus 1, okay, but I want the opposite of a positive 1, which is plus 1. I'm sorry, opposite of a negative 1, which is plus 1. And then I also need the opposite of that I. So it's negative I. So if you see a minus, you need to put a star on those, because this means you want the opposite of all of the next letter, not just the first one. So then when you add these together, then you get 1 minus 8i. Oh, sorry, 3 minus 8i. Okay? Right now, the other thing I want to talk about with you guys is number 8. On number 8, w is 3 minus 8i, and z is negative 3i. We talked about this a little bit. You're not allowed to have a negative in the denominator. So what are you going to multiply the bottom by? You multiply it by the conjugate, which would be 3i. Okay? Now, let's go to the back, please. Okay, so I want to do problem 13 with you. And 13 wants you to turn it into rectangular form. This is a practice from Friday. This is like what we did on Friday's lesson. So right now it's in rectangular form. You can look at it and know x, you can look at it and know y. And you want to turn it back into rectangular form. But what's the first step to do that? In order to apply, if I want z to the 10th power, what was my first step we talked about doing? What's the first thing you have to do to raise something to the power? You have to put it in what form? You may remember? Yeah, thank you. CIS form. Has to be in CIS form. So in order to do that, then you just define each one. So that means x, this is x and this is y. So x equals 3, y equals negative 2. If you were going to map where that would be, okay, you're in quadrant 4. We need to check that. Right? So now, first thing is r CIS form, so you're going to find r. R is the square root of 3 squared plus negative 2 squared. Okay? So once you do that, what do you end up with? The square root of how much? 13. So r is the square root of 13. Now you have to find theta, so tangent of theta is y divided by x, so negative 2/3. That is not on the unit circle, so use your calculator now. And when you're just going to type in your calculator the inverse tangent of negative 2/3. And you end up getting negative 33.69 degrees. Okay, we know we can't have theta be negative, so let's take a look at where I was at. This is 0, if I'm going to talk about negative, this would be negative 90. I'm where I'm supposed to be, okay? But I have to be positive, so I've got to make a complete rotation. So what are we going to add to this number? 360, good. So then that means theta is actually going to be negative 33 plus 360. So 326.31 degrees is theta. Remember, your first goal is to get it into our CIS form. It's there. There it is. So it would be root 13 CIS 326.31 degrees. Okay, I'll highlight that part. You're not finished, but that's the first step. Okay, what's my next step? What power do I want to raise it to? The 10th. So we're going to actually apply this formula. So if I want to raise it to the 10th power, remember what it means. Okay, it means I want root 13 to the 10th power, CIS, and then according to the formula up here, I now take that 10 and multiply it times my angle. So 10 times 326.31. So you'll get both of those values, and they're huge. Okay, and I'm going to show you a shortcut in just a second. Write the values down real quick, and I'll show you a shortcut for the next step. So root 13 to the 10th power is a big number, 371,523.28 CIS, and then 10 times this just moves the decimal one place. Okay. Now, I am in CIS form. My goal, and now I've also applied the formula, but my goal is to get it in what form? What form do I need it back in? What's it called? Come on, guys. What's it called? What form? What's the directions say? What form do I want it in? What directions does it tell me? I want it in rectangular form. Okay? So to apply this, I don't know if you remember, but it means you're going to take 371,000 times cosine of that, 371,000 times sine of that number. Okay? Now, those are a lot of numbers to type in a calculator, so I'm going to show you a shortcut. If you turn it on, turn your calculator on, and you don't have to write out that giant line. Okay, I know that to find the x value, I need to take 371,000 times cosine of my angle. That gives me the x. And then 371,000 times sine of that number gives me the y value. And I should put an I on the end. But if you'll take your calculator, type in 371,523.28, then type in cosine of 3,263.1. I'll give you a second to do that. That's going to give you the x value because you're using cosine. Hit enter, and you get 341,735. I know 9. Is that what you got? Okay, now watch my shortcut. Instead of typing in all those huge numbers again, some of you may already have learned this from before. What do? We went up, right, to what we want to repeat. So you arrow up twice, hit enter, and we're going to go over and change that word cosine to what? To sine. And then you don't have to type it so many times. It's way better. You're going to hit enter, and there's your other number. So plus 1457.62.37 I. Don't forget your I. That will help you out. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is problem 18. Okay, I'm not going to work it all out for you, but I just want you to look at it for just a minute. Okay, on problem 18 it is already in CIS form, guys. That makes it much easier. Okay, look at the difference between 13 and 18. Okay, on 18, the only work you have to do is what's down here in this black marker. Because all the stuff in orange has already been done. Okay, so 18 is actually much simpler. All you have to do is apply the formula and then turn it into rectangular form. It's shorter. But is 8 pi over 9 on my unit circle? No. So you can either go to your unit circle and convert it all into nights, hoping you'll find something. Okay, or you can use a formula that we studied last semester and turn it into degrees. Okay, and this makes it a lot easier. So if you want to write this down, it probably would help you. If you want to convert something into degrees, does anybody remember what to do? How many degrees are in a circle? 360. How many radians are in a circle completely?
2 pi.
2 pi. So I want to get rid of the pi. I want to get rid of the radians. So 2 pi goes on bottom and 360 goes on the top. because that's the same thing. Okay? So the pi is gonna cancel, and you're gonna do 8 times 360, which would be 2880, and divide by 9 times 2, which is 18. So the degrees is 160 degrees. Right? So if you see a radian, okay, that's too big, or that's not on your unit circle, you can convert it to degrees that way. Right, then you can continue on.